And a very good evening to you, and welcome to this evening's edition of Politics 101, our special Black Matters program.
If you hear that, black is beautiful. Santa Claus. Black is beautiful. It's a textile. Lift your head like me. You got to wear it for with dignity. How it burn out. Black is beautiful. I said, sing it along. Black is beautiful. Say, I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of that old slave mentality.
And again, we had to play that a second time. Black is Beautiful, the anthem of the Black Power movement, the West Indian anthem sung by Kelvin Pope, the mighty Duke, sang that in 1969, won the Calypso Crown. And that was after the events of 1968. The events of 1968, the Rodney riots in Jamaica. Dr. Walter Rodney was deemed persona non grata in Jamaica, and the Jamaican people took to the streets. The Jamaican people took to the streets in what became known as the Rodney riots, launching the Black Power movement of our Caribbean. And the mighty Duke sang that calypso in 1969.
If you hear that, black is beautiful. Santa Claus. Black is beautiful. It's a textile. Lift your head like me. You got to wear it for with dignity. How it burn out. Black is beautiful. I said, sing it along. Black is beautiful. Say, I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of that old slave mentality.
And of course, if you're joining us from Guyana, warm welcome to you. A warm welcome to you if you're joining us from Guyana. If you're joining us from the wider Caribbean, welcome to you. Welcome to Politics 101. David Hines here on a Friday evening with you. Tonight is Black People's Story. Tonight we're talking strictly Black. We're saying Black people matter, and we're saying this skin color matters. And they are matters particular to Black people. It's Black History Month in the United States of America, but it has become universal. Black History Month. And some may ask, why Black History Month and not White History Month? Well, every month is White History Month. Black history is about reclaiming our history, reclaiming our heritage, reclaiming everything that comes with humanity. Yes, we always knew we were human beings. Not even slavery took that thought away from us. We always knew we were human beings. I like when Stokely Carmichael, they asked him about the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 1964 and 1965 in the United States, and wanted him to comment on legislation that has to do with Black people. He said, no, those legislations are for white people, because it's white people who didn't feel we were humans. And so now that you've made legislation that affirms that we are human constitutionally, it's for white people. We always knew we were human beings. But slavery, of course, sought to constitutionally and otherwise take away our humanity. And that is why for us, the question is always what it is to be human. What it is to be human. We died. Orlando Patterson said, social death. We died physical death on the plantations. But we're here to tell the story. And tonight we're going to tell part of that story. Part of that story. You see, part of the story of slavery is about rebelling against slavery. Rebelling, revolting, revoluting, as Black Stalin would say, against slavery. And we in Guyana, there are two revolutions that stand out among the many. The 1763 revolution, in an age of revolution, led that period in revolution. 1763, 1776, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and 1804, the Haitian Revolution. And then 1823, the largest slave revolution. In terms of the number of human beings who rose up against the plantocracy, against the institution of slavery. If emancipation itself was a revolution in 1838, then the events that led to the revolution, they are themselves revolution. 1763, 1823. 260 years since 1763. This month, where the enslaved people took the colony, held the colony. That revolution was only put on by the collective might of the colonial masters in our Guyana. If we're talking about modern Guyana, it started in 1763. And then in 1823, the mother of them all hastened, because remember, the British had stopped the slave trade, but not slavery. And then 1823, in the twinkling of an eye, 15 years later, the gates opened. In 1834, they signed the proclamation. But of course, between 1834 and 1838, what happened? What happened? They had to pay the slave masters reparations. And who paid for those reparations? The British paid 20 million pounds. And the other 28 million pounds had to be paid by the free labor of the slaves, the enslaved people in the Caribbean. That's what we did from 1834 to 1838. They call it apprenticeship. But it was about us working to pay the slave masters reparations. We're talking some black story tonight. Welcome to Politics 101. Black matters tonight. Black matters. And we're not playing with that. Gone are the days when we hide. And one of the things I am determined to accomplish in Guyana is that black people must not hide when they're talking about themselves. Oh, well, black people taking blows, but you know, poor Indian people taking blows too. Oh, well, black people this, but they get Indian people suffering too. Indian people got plenty people to talk for them. Indian people got the PPP government to talk for them. They don't need me right now. They would only need me and you when they're in trouble. If this government is removed and a black government goes into power, our Indian brothers and sisters will hug me up and say, David, talk for me, you know. And so I'm determined to get this stupid talk out of black people's mouth. If you're talking about black people, talk about black people. That is why I come here on Friday nights and said, all I'm doing on Friday night is talking black and acting black. And the other days of the week, we can talk about Guyana. Welcome to Politics 101. Black Matters. Black Matters. I'm going to have some friends coming on tonight. Brother Sompson DaSilva, he's no stranger. He's a member of the 1823 Coalition. Sister Penda Guyan, also no stranger, member of the 1823 Coalition. And that coalition was formed when the government built the 1823 monument and placed it at the seawall. When we in the black community, the black organizations, wanted that monument to be put at the parade ground. Because it was at the parade ground that they paraded the bodies of our foreparents whom they slaughtered because they dared to participate in the 1823 revolution. They took those bodies and they hung them at the parade ground. That's why it's called parade ground. And we wanted the monument to go there. And the Jatio government said, no, we wanted to go to the seawall, dictate for black people. And so the 1823 coalition was formed, and some of the brothers and sisters have kept it going. And they're going to be here tonight to talk about what they are doing this 200 years, 200th anniversary since the 1823 revolution. Brother Sompson DaSilva, Sister Guyan Penda, they're going to be here with us, active in the black community, the 1823 coalition. They're going to be here tonight to talk about that moment in history. And every moment in our history becomes part of that larger collective of moments. Is there 1823 in 2023? Welcome to Black Matters. David Hines here. Tonight we're talking black because there are matters that pertain to black people that we must talk about. The images are etched in our minds. Recent images, not so recent images. And of course, historical memory brings those images vivid in our mind. We don't have to go back to the plantation to understand demolition. They demolish homes in a black village, a black community, Moka. Oh, they're so determined to push us back. To push us back. We come in here tonight, and the people of Suriname, just across our borders, for the second time in a few months, have taken to the streets and taken over the government building, the parliament. Righteous indignation. Righteous indignation. If government don't hear, they must feel. It happens all over the world. I say to you all in Guyana, we have to stop telegraphing the revolution and work for the revolution. Because as Martin Carter said, that night there will be thousands of torches. From the hospital, the lame will come. Those who are mad will become sane for the revolution. Those who despair shall be happy for the revolution. And I myself shall be so fiercely happy that I will make my shirt a banner for the revolution. You are going to prepare for the revolution. Stop anticipating the revolution. Work, prepare yourself, so that when the moment comes that it has come in Suriname, you're ready. There may have been a few moments, but they found us wanting because we weren't ready. Maka was one such moment. We weren't ready for the revolution. The Black Revolution is a permanent revolution. And it has to be. Because slavery ended physically and constitutionally. But the scars of bondage, to quote the UC Guyan and Chaiko Guyan, the scars of bondage continues to be raw, continue to be raw on the physical body and the mental body of the Black man and the Black woman and the Black child. Welcome to Black Matters. Please share the link. Tonight is as important as any other night. Black is beautiful. We say that not to say non-Black is ugly. We say not to say that we are in some beauty contest. We say Black is beautiful to mean Black is human. Humanity is beautiful. And that is why we say Black is beautiful. Because humanity is beautiful. It's beautiful.
If you hear that, Black is beautiful. Santa Claus. Black is beautiful. It's a textile. Lift your head like me. You got to wear it for with dignity. How it burn out. Black is beautiful. I said, sing it along. Black is beautiful. Say, I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of that old slave mentality.
Welcome back to Politics 101 Friday night edition, Black Matters. Welcome to Black Matters. If you're joining us from Guyana, welcome. If you're joining us from the United States of America, welcome. If you're joining us from Paramaribo, from Dutch Guyana, as we say, the Suriname these days. If you're joining us from Suriname, welcome to Politics 101. Welcome to Black Matters. Black Matters. Welcome, good evening to you. We're expecting some friends. I saw a couple of them backstage earlier. Dr. Sompson, DaSilva, we're expecting them. We're expecting Sister Penda. They're coming here for us to talk about 1823. Because, you know, that was the year of the big slave revolution that occurred. They call it the Demerara Rebellion. You know, if 1763 is the Berbice Rebellion, the Demerara Rebellion in 1823, 200 years. We're waiting for our sister and our brother to get settled at the back. And once they get settled, we are going to bring them in so that we can begin our discussion tonight. We come in an air, as we say, we are coming in air as the people of Suriname are doing their dance. The Surinamese poet Robin Dobru, one of the poets that I admire when I was a young man and still admire. He's long dead. And we used to say his poem with glee when I was a young man in the 70s and the 80s. He says, the revolution will come. Said, I can feel it in the sun. I can feel it in the sun. I want to hate somebody today. I can feel it in the sun. I can feel it in my bones. I want to hate somebody today. I want to get dread today. Brother Bob Marley said, I want to disturb my neighbor. I want to disturb my neighbor. Always crying out for that time. But we got to be ready. We got to be ready for that time. James Baldwin said, the fire next time. The fire next time. Walter Rodney said, if they want to use my race to dehumanize me, I will use my race to humanize myself. They tried to tell us in Guyana, Walter Rodney wasn't black. He was blacker than all of we put together. Read, grounded with my brothers and sisters. The fire next time. I did an interview with the newspaper in my university earlier today, and they wanted me to speak about a book that made a difference in my life. And of course, I chose the book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Rodney, and was talking about it. But I could not talk about Rodney's How Europe Underdeveloped Africa without talking about William's Capitalism and Slavery and C.L.R. James' Black Men. And Ivan van Swartima, they came before Columbus. And Frantz Fanon, black skin, white masks. And I told the interviewer that those groundbreaking texts were all intertwined because they come from these little island spaces. Small but complex, producing scholars who could unravel the complexities of the black experience in the diaspora. We left Africa only physically. There were some African kings and queens who came to our shores the other day, and they came to Buxton, and I spoke. And the title of my talk was, We Never Left Africa. I plan, if I have time, to reproduce it as a booklet. We never left Africa. We could never leave Africa. To have left Africa was to have left our soul. We are a soul people. That's why we have soul food and soul music. A lot of you dance to soca. You know what it means? The soul of Calypso. The soul of Calypso, invented by Ras Shorty, Garfield Blackman of Trinidad and Tobago. The soul of Calypso. We were soulful people. And we are always hoping and always ready. We are ready and hoping to be ready. We are surviving and we are changing. Let not your heart be troubled. As we said, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down and where we wept, when we remembered Africa. For the wicked took us away from Africa as captives and brought us to this strange land. And how can we sing our ancestor song in a strange land? But over time, we turned the strange land into Africa. We humanize the slave coast, the wild coast, as they call Guyana. We humanize it not by wishing, we humanize it with our blood, our sweat. I don't know about you, but I can tell you, I love being me. I love being African. If I get to see the face of God one day, I should say thank you for making me African. The mighty Chalk does sang a song, a calypso, like that. Thanks for being African. Because to be black and African should not be to be ashamed. Tonight, we are closer to where we want to be. Oh, the book of Revelations, that's why we hold on to it so tightly. It's not the whole Bible we just read, The book of Exodus we just read. That got to do with we story. We just read the book of Revelations, it had to be with this story. And prophecy. Dr. King, on the night before they killed him, he was sick. And he went there to that church. And he said, I'm not fearing any man tonight. I'm not fearing any man tonight because I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. And I may not get there with you, but I know we as a people will get there. And all that they're doing in Guyana today to prevent us from getting to that promised land, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Welcome to Black Matters on a Friday night. The spirit is turning in me. We were talking the other night about kanji, and I always been around the spiritual thing since as a little boy. You always hear they say kanji, water go follow me, mama. Are you hear that? The old people will know that. All young people ain't know too much of that because kanji has great significance to the black man in Guyana. Kanji water. We doing it tonight. All right. They say that David Hines won confrontation, so he pushing Norton to confrontation. And David Hines want black people to create trouble in Bondong, Guyana, so he pushing black people. If I get a chance to see the face of God, I'm going to ask him, why put me on this earth for? Confrontation and so on. I will ask him. Our own Bob Marley said, what have we done? When will we see the face of the man? The face of God is freedom. That is why Black Stallion said, when he go there, he going to take Peter walk. Peter wait. Look, Ian Smith by the gate, Bonnie. Peter wait. Look, the woman who sent troops in Africa land, Bunchy. Peter wait. Look, the man who demolished the houses in Mocha, Bonnie. I don't want to call his name, but I tell Stalin before he died the other day, I said, Black Stalin, when you go up to heaven and you take the work from Peter, I send in one from Guyana. Because he too got to be born. Sisters and brothers, we are on a roll tonight. I don't want you all be frightened to say black. And I don't want you all to qualify when you say black. Welcome. Let's bring in Dr. Sompson DaSilva is here. Brother Sompson, I was a small boy in the trenches fighting. And that height man was something else, you think the man announced a young agriculture minister. I think he was 30 yet. And when you're fighting people, you don't want them to do progressive things. And there was a man taking a young man and make him the agriculture minister. And agriculture, of course, is one of the important aspects of our I remember you from there, and I was a mere little activist. Little did I know that years later I would be rubbing shoulders with you as a fellow activist in the struggle for Black liberation, not only in Guyana but across the world. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening, David, and thank you for bringing me upstage. I was in backstage. I was hearing you all the time, and it was very enlightening what you had to say. And I wouldn't want to repeat anything you have said, but I would like to add to the talk or the conversation. And first of all, I would like the world to know that I am African and I am Black and proud. And we should encourage our brothers and sisters to not be ashamed, not be afraid to speak to who you are. I'm very concerned about a lot of our colleagues and friends in Guyana who are afraid. I ask of them to not be afraid. Fear not. Stand up for your rights. Defend your rights. It's your God-given right. It is the right of the Constitution of Guyana. It's the right that we are supposed to defend. I would like to add to your thing about Blackness or Africanness. I would like to remind us that African blood is everywhere. African blood, since when our people were brought from Africa to the Americas, to the Caribbean, it was blood in the rivers, blood on the land, blood on people's hands, blood everywhere. And it's important that I wanted to speak about blood, sweat, and tears. But after thinking about it, my understanding is there were sweat and tears by all, Indian, Chinese probably, Europeans even. But you see this blood, the shedding of blood, the killing of our people, the lynching of our people. From what I recall, it was Black people. It's the African people who were just thrown overboard because you were not necessarily well enough to make the passage. Or you were thrown to the wolves when you get to Guyana and you were not fit enough necessarily. And when you were working, you were whipped. And it was blood on the backs, blood everywhere. When you didn't obey them, your finger was chopped off, your foot was chopped off. And then if you disobeyed their instructions for it, because you're standing up for your rights, because you know you are a human being, but they think you are less than dogs. And blood was spilled all over. From what I know, there's no other race that went through that. And if there's one legacy we should hold on to, if there's one thing we should do, is remember the blood that was shed by our ancestors. And we must make sure that whatever we do is to do it for the betterment of our people now and in the future. And David, I would like to slightly disagree with you. A matter of fact, just for the record, I remember I was hired by our great leader, Lyndon Forbes Sompson Bonham.
Yes.
And I was just nearly 25 years of age.
Yes.
The youngest
minister. Not disagree.
In Latin America.
Correct me. Yes, Bonham did that before.
That is why, and it's important because I would like to speak to young people. I would like to know young people to know that that man, by the name of Lyndon Forbes Sompson Bonham, gave young people the opportunity to lead. I recall at the first, after 1 month on the job, he told me I had to go and speak at the World Food Day at Perico. He said, "Comrade, I'm supposed to go there, but I will need you to prepare and deliver the speech. And I did. It was about fueling food security. Since then, we were talking about food security and would like all to know that just like our ancestors, when they bought the villages, fed themselves, created the industries to sustain themselves, they were great sustainable development leaders. And Lyndon Forbes Sompson Bonham, from what I know, was one of the greatest sustainable development activist, practitioner. So what we are hearing about today with respect to low carbon development strategy, Agenda 2030, sustainable development goals, our leader was the champion of that. Our leader is the one who championed us to the Republican status of Guyana on the 23rd of February 1970. He linked that to the 1763 revolution. Don't let people name our thing. It was our revolution. And people need to understand that Mashramani celebration ought not to be about whining and dining and dancing and frolicking only. It's supposed to be a reflection of what our ancestors went through during the time of our tree revolution, led by Kofi and Berbice, 1763, 1823, by Kwamina, and we must not forget, in Essequibo by Damon. Those were three illustrious, glorious revolution, and all were about the fight for us to live as human beings.
As human beings. Brother Simpson, I think we have Brother Guyan and Sister Guyan on. Good evening, sister and brother.
Good evening, greetings.
Greetings, my brothers, and
greetings.
Greetings, everyone, all listeners.
All right. Welcome to your first program of Black Matters, and tonight we are talking about the Black condition with reference to the 1823 revolution. We are celebrating or observing 200 years in that great moment. And let me publicly thank you all, the Guyans and Simpson and others, for keeping the 1823 coalition alive. I was one of the founder members. I remember, I think you all were away for a moment when that thing erupted and you came back. And a number of us held the fort and had the coalition going, and it was not until I spoke to Simpson that I realized that you all have continued the coalition. So I want to salute you all for holding the thing together. Brother Guyan, why in 2023 we have to be talking about something that happened 200 years ago?
My brother, again, I must say good evening to everyone. You've asked a question that needed to be asked. 1823 was, I call it the Glorious Revolution. We call it the Glorious Revolution because it's misunderstood. But that is the revolution that determined our existence today. However, because we have very little understanding of that revolution, we're making a great deal, many errors in terms of going forward, how to benefit from that revolution. Now, to say that, I would like to say something about our strategy. Africans, we as revolutionaries, be bumbling up everything. We have to sit and structure each thing, so that we can have order in our approach. What am I saying? Now, if we think about our presence here in Guyana, we started approximately in 1625. Give and take a few years. Good. We should then be clear that from 1625 to 1833 is specific. It has, we should not, in making analysis of that period, we should put out from 1838 to present day out the equation. If we don't, we find ourselves chewing more than we need to chew to understand what we are doing and what we have to do. So let me go back now. From 1625 to 1763, the Africans have been in constant rebellion or in constant revolutionary mind. What is revolution? Revolution is action to change completely my existence. And that is what Africans were doing. Africans were saying, listen, we did not want to leave our country, Africa. We're the only people on this soil of Guyana that did not come to this country to find food, clothing, shelter, protection. We don't know why we're here. Amerindians are not indigenous to this country. It's important, but we won't argue about that. But we have to understand that they came here looking for food, clothing, shelter, and protection. And what that means, everybody who came here had an entrance plan and an exit plan. Africans had no entrance plan and no exit plan. So if it looked as if we confused today, it's only in the context of an exit plan and an entrance plan. All right. So from 1625 to 1763, we had a major action, which we call the revolution. They claim it was defeated, but very important, it should be accepted and acknowledged by every university and especially every African. Because they said what? It was defeated. So was the Russian Revolution. So was the Mexican Revolution. So of this place, I'll get it in a minute. All the revolutions that were noticed or taken notice of, they're not around today. But the American Revolution, they want to be the only, that's a reason, we talk about that some of the time, but there's a reason why that want to have dominance over the word revolution and the action revolution. But our revolution was a revolution, and Africans should accept it that way. Good. After 1763, we had another great action taken. 1823 revolution. They call it revolt. No. A revolt, what they want to do, put down, and even our own scholars or even only institutions of learning, what they do is put down our, they put down our act, what we do, instead of elevating it. One, that revolution wanted to change the way things were done. It was not business as usual, and that's the purpose of revolution. Revolution says, listen, we are going to change, we the people are going to change business, not going to be business as usual. When we are finished, it will be different. And in 1823, they want, when it's finished, we no longer use prison industrial complexes called plantations. They didn't want to have masters. Any Only slaves have masters. We
Yeah.
say we don't want masters at any time. Before we have masters, we run away from you and go and open our own villages, which are called Maroons villages.
Maroon.
And to stop us
Maroons.
from doing
Brother,
that,
Brother Guyan,
hired.
let's
Yes,
bring
my
in
brother.
Sister Penda. Let's bring in Sister Penda here so that we can get our perspective.
All right.
Sister Penda, good evening and welcome to Black Matters.
Good evening. Good
Why?
evening.
Thank you. And why for you as a Black woman in 2023 feel it's important to situate 1823 in the present?
Well, it's very important because all the gains that we have made, it is because of the 1823 revolution, even as far as our emancipation, because that is what brought us into emancipation. It was because of the struggles, because of the burning of the fields and all that happened. But more importantly, I think at this period and this bicentennial, we need our young people to understand what the struggles were, what our foreparents suffered, what they went through in order to bring us to this part. Because if they do not know their story, if they do not know their
we're losing some song there. The song that's gone. The song that's gone. Sister Penda's song that's gone. Simpson, let me bring you in and put the same question to you. Why in 2023 are we engaging 1823? What happened? What is the significance of 1823 to what happened in 2023? Are there similarities to the experience? Are there warning signs? Talk to us about 1823 and 2023.
There are a lot of warning signs. There are lots of things that the Pendas have spoken about, that you have spoken about, and we are seeing them on a daily basis in Guyana. However, David, I would like to seize the opportunity on this show to let us know that we need to take the opportunity that is available to us to turn that around. And if we do not, we will suffer dearly. Currently, there's the talk about one Guyana. Currently, there's the talk about inclusion of people of African descent in the Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2030. What we have is a group of experts, hundreds all over the world, met and have decided to make sure that an operational guideline was produced. And it's called the Operation Guidelines for the Inclusion of People of African Descent in Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals, which in Guyana's context, it's the Low Carbon Development Strategy. And currently, that is the vehicle that is used to spend money in our communities. And unfortunately, a lot of us are not at the table. We need to make sure that what happened way back then, we were deliberately and purposefully excluded. We weren't even considered as humans. And we fought for these rights. Now that we have these rights, then we need to seize the opportunity, the window of opportunity that is there by the UN, especially in this decade of people of African descent. And the decade must be extended. And as far as I'm concerned, our day is every day. Our decades are all the decades. But there is it. I have done some checks on the ground, and about 95% of us are not aware of these vehicles that we have. So we need to make sure that immediately that the operation guidelines for the inclusion of our people is at all our organizations. I urge the government also to make sure that the inclusion and these basic things that they have agreed to, all the governments have agreed to it, that should be at every workplace, every agency, everywhere. And if we were to use that vehicle, it has all the things that we are fighting for. Not to be discriminated against, not to be marginalized, done with Afrophobia, and so on and so forth. Zero hunger, no poverty, education for all, right for all. But if we do not go there and participate, we'd be further excluded. So if there's one thing I would like to emphasize is that we all as leaders should make sure that what happened then does not repeat now. We know that it's repeating, but there's a role that we have to play, or parliamentarians have to play, or political leaders, or business people, civil society, churches, journalists. We need to grab hold of that instrument that was accepted by the world for our inclusion. It states clearly, if provisions are not made by the government ordinarily, they should seek extra budgetary funding so that our communities are taken care of. So that is what the piece I would like to add.
Thank you very much, Brother DaSilva. And Brother Guyan, listen, this is 2023. Black people are taking blows in Guyana. Their homes are being demolished. Their children are being killed. They're being harassed every day. They're left out of the distribution of the resources that we're getting from oil and gas. They're being treated badly. What are the lessons of 1823, that Black people can use today to push back against the powers that be that seem determined to push Black people back onto the plantation? We are not getting a sound. No sound, we're not hearing you.
The lessons we can, oh no.
We're hearing you now.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Oh,
now.
good. The lessons we can learn from 1823, oh no, you keep coming in each time.
Yes, we are hearing you, Brother Guyan. Go ahead.
The lessons we can learn from 1823 is that we must be aware of the situation we are in. At present now, we're not politically aware, we're not socially aware, we're not economically aware. And that is our biggest downfall. For example,
yeah, Brother Guyan, you said we're not aware. We live in an age where as soon as something happens, it's on the social media, it's all over. That lady fence was being broken down the other day. Everybody sees it. Everybody saw in real time what was happening at Mocha. Everybody saw in real time what the people of Golden Grove were doing. What do you mean that we are not aware? Explain.
Great. I'm glad you mentioned that. I am talking from your perspective. Now, you are a professor. And awareness to a professor means that you must understand the theory that controls the action. Guyana is a sophisticated banana republic with oil. Guyana is controlled also by the Global Report 2000 presentation. Why am I saying that? What is happening in Guyana is similar to what happened in India at independence. This is the divide and rule situation where the real culprits are not within our borders. The real culprits are in Washington, D.C., etc. They're the people, we are puppets who will be controlled by the strings of the puppeteer. But saying that is not solving the problem. But by saying that, we can now understand what we have to do. The people in Mocha, that's not random violence. That's not random victimization. Within a banana republic mentality of the people who are controlling us, you must move the people off the land, because we bring into the space called your nation foreigners who need workers. That is what MOCA is about. That is about all the places where they're taking Africans off the ancestral land and putting them here and putting them there. They are preparing them to be workers for those nationals who are coming to run this country. When Guyanese understand that, Guyanese will say, listen, what we have to do is find out a way how to take back our country from 1833. 1833, Guyana was an African country. You got to understand that. Until 1830, in fact, until 1850 something, in the 1850s, only Africans had citizen or claims to this country. What happened after then that suddenly you who were the majority, in this country became the minority? It's not by chance. We have to understand what's going on in this country. In this country, the people outside, not the people inside, the people outside have created a situation where a people who this country belonged to, the one people of this country were Africans. The one people that this country belonged to became a minority. How can you
We're not hearing you, Rudy.
gerrymandering, etc. So in understanding MOCA, we have to understand what we allowed to happen to us. That's the starting point. And then you study 1823. Look, before the revolution, Africans were not allowed to marry each other. In about May that year, May 1823, Africans fought for that. Prior to that, a little before that, women were being in the field to work during work time. Africans fought to change that. What I'm showing you, that Africans, through power of activity, through their own understanding and will, change their circumstances. And then what happened after the revolution? After the revolution, what they did, the planters, which is the prison wardens, the prison operators, the planters found that they could not make a profit from the soil, from the plantations. Why? Because Africans knew what they had to do. And what they did is they did all kinds of passive resistance. And Gandhi did not bring passive resistance to this country. Africans brought passive resistance to the world. So think about it carefully. We destroyed the plantation system so much so that it was operating at 40%. Africans did that with Africans alone. And they did it from learning from the ancestral knowledge pool. You see? So what we did, we brought the plantation system through the 1823 revolution to almost a standstill. That the British Parliament, that this is what you listen to, I want everyone to listen to this carefully. In 1833, we caused the British Parliament to be so confused that they made a statement saying that the emancipation ended slavery in the British territory. Emancipation did not end it any slavery. India, who had slavery for 800 years, had emancipation only in 1843, and India was a British colony. That's a lie they said in Parliament. Think about it, and none of us challenged that. Unless we understand what is happening to us, unless we understand what happened to us, we weren't able to deal with our situation. And so that's why I said earlier that we have to first know what's happening to us.
Yes,
understand it.
Understand
the theory. And my brother, who would tell his students, listen, put your theory right, as your practice could never, never, never be right. And we have to put our theory right. We were never slaves. That is very important. Why do we understand that? I'm going to say this first time on television.
Let's bring in Sister Penda, Brother Guyan. Let's bring in Sister Penda. Is she there?
Oh, good.
Sister Penda, tell us about some of the activities.
Yes, my brother.
Tell us about some of the activities the 1823 coalition is planning.
I've lost your volume. I've lost my volume.
No, we are hearing you. We are hearing you.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us about some of the activities the coalition has planned. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Yes. Tell us about some of the activities the coalition is planning to mark the bicentennial of 1823 revolution.
Very good. Very good. What's happened so far is we have put together a calendar. It's a special bicentennial calendar, and we're waiting to have that put on board maybe by the end of this month. It doesn't matter because we have the entire year. Good. Apart from that, we, as I said earlier on, we've been to the schools, sensitizing the young people about what the 1823 bicentennial is all about, what the significance is and what it means to them. We're now having planning meetings for the villages. We'll be going into the villages and we'll be having conversations with the people there. But most importantly, Dr. Hines, is that we are also working with the people in England and in America that are doing similar programs so that we can all come together and not duplicate, so that they can see what we're doing and we'll be able to see what they're doing. Now, on the 18th of August, we're hoping to relive or to reenact that revolution. So we're going to be starting from Mahaika and coming all the way down to the parade ground. We'll be having a procession. When we get to Bachelor's Adventure, we're going to have a huge event because that's where the massacre occurred. And then we're going to come all the way down to Main Street, come along into Middle Street and into the parade ground. Well, the center of the parade ground, because you know the parade ground is the market to Kwamina. So we'll be doing it on the Independence Park section. And these are some of the things that we've done so far, but we're still continuing to add things along.
Thank you. Simpson, let me bring you in here. Sister Penda talked about Mahaika. She talked about Bachelor's Adventure Paradise. She talked about the parade ground, and La Souvenir, I think, is another important place. Tell us why these spots, Simpson, are important. Maika, Larissa Veneer, Bachelor's Adventure, Parade Ground.
They're very important. These are locations where our people were working, they were living, they were involved in activities. These places, while they were walking in the revolution, it is where they were being attacked by the colonials. And we believe that that part where they were, where they actually participated in the revolution, we must go through those villages. And while we go through, the younger ones would become even more educated about the process in the past. But in addition to that, there's another movement by the organization, well, a group about emancipation games, that during that time, emancipation games would be happening in all these villages along the coast. And apart from just merely participating in sporting activities, there would be a lot of advocacy work, educational activities going on. And in addition to that, we intend to push the whole sustainable development agenda so that the people, as they participate in sports and culture, they know that our people in those villages afterwards were self-sufficient. So we don't want to leave them alone. We want to link 1823, 1763, 1834 to present day, and let them understand clearly that the revolution is now, and we have to educate them about the past, present, and prepare them for the future.
And of course, Better for Wacton was very important because the church there, the missionary church, as we would call them, the congregational church in Better for Wacton, was one of the places where Reverend Smith facilitated some of those people who planned the rebellion. So there are some very important names and important places that are linked to the 1823 revolution. Dr. Rudy Guyan, some closing thoughts from you, then I go to Sister Penda, and then I come back to Simpson DaSilva to close us off.
Well, I must thank you for having this program. Yes, there's so many things to be thrown in to the very topic, but I would like to just leave one sentence. We have the guideline of our four parents. Let us study them. Let us study not emotions. Let us put much logic into the study, and we'll see that they not only give us a history, but they showed us how to do the solution. And from this particular program, which is a great program, we should get together then in a non-visual groups different from this, and examine what we heard on this program, and then work towards finding out our solution, which is there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Penda.
Yes, Dr. Hans. I want to also say thank you very much for this wonderful program. It is so important what you're doing, especially at a time like this in this country where we have so many challenges on a daily basis. You have given us a forum for us to talk about Black matters and don't have to be afraid to do so. I want to say thank you. I want to say that I will try my best with the help of Dr. DaSilva and all the other persons, you also, Dr. Hans, who are on board for the 1823 bicentennial, to make all our goals a success. And I thank you very much for having us on.
Thank you much. Brother DaSilva?
Thank you very much, Dr. Hines. Finally, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share our views with the people all over the world and to remind them that black blood matters and black blood is everywhere. And we, as black people, must defend our rights. We must not be afraid. We must not be ashamed to stand up and fight for our rights. We must parallelly make sure that we protect those ancestral lands because there's a movement currently to take away a lot of the ancestral lands. We must stand strong on the shoulders of our ancestors, use the spirit of the ancestors, get the message to our younger people, and so that they can understand, and together we protect and preserve and develop what is dutifully and truly ours. We are not going to discriminate, but we are not going to allow people to continue to take us for granted and treat us as though we are subhuman. That is my contribution at this time, please.
And
Ashe.
thank you. And thank Ashe, and thank you very much, Simpson DaSilva, Dr. Simpson DaSilva, Sister Penda Guyan, and Brother Rudy Guyan, members of the 1823 coalition that they are organizing events throughout the year so that we can observe that important moment. 200 years is like a small drop in the ocean when it comes to historical time. It was not so long ago. We were fighting tooth and nail to bring us out of the plantation physically. And 200 years later, if you listen to the brothers and the sister tonight, we still have work to do. And so we want to use this bicentennial as a reminder. We want to use it as a means of capturing history, not to feel good, but to use that history as a stepping stone to the future. C.L.R. James talked about the future in the present. We have always been a futuristic people. We have had to be, because we know that the present was not tenable. And so we constantly, as the mighty Sparrow said, think about a brilliant escape. And we made a brilliant escape, and we have to make a brilliant preservation. Because ultimately, they are always those with long knives, longer than the 400 years that we have endured their hatred here, always with longer knives. And so we constantly have to keep our eyes on the prize. And the 1823 coalition is helping us to do so. Thank you all so much, brothers and sisters, and please, whenever you all want to come on, this program is open to you. Just give me a call. You all have my numbers, and we are going to extend the conversation. And I want to thank you, the audience. You all know where I stand on the issue of black people. Don't be ashamed of your blackness. That's why we are here. We're not coming here to cause trouble. We're not coming here to hate nobody. We're not coming here to cause any uproar, as they say. We come here in the name of our ancestors. We come here standing on the shoulders of a history of revolution, a history of struggle, and a history of making things. Oh, yes, we have not built skyscrapers in Guyana. We have not built big long towers, but we've given Guyana and the Caribbean and the world, as Brother Rex Nettleford said, we have given our mind, the fertile mind that turned plantations into nations. We have given the fertility of our minds to navigate our way out of slavery and turn the wild coast into the East Coast and the West Coast and the Essequibo curse. We are not a 3 cents people. And I only say that not to say that other people are not 3 cents, but other people would like to deny us our place in history. So long as there is blood, so long as there is life, people like me have a responsibility not to make that happen. They shall never bury the African achievement in the bottom of some $20,000 handout. They shall never bury African achievement under guns and knives that are used to cut our throat. They shall never bury our achievement and our humanity under hired guns to strangle us. Oh no, oh no, we overcame slavery, the greatest and worst, the worst human tragedy. And through our collective blackness, we shall link our hearts and our hands together, and we shall overcome what we are faced with today, not just to say we have removed the government, but to locate us in our rightful place, Oh, the songs that talk about empty chairs. You're gone and your empty chair is here. We must not leave empty chairs. We must fill every chair in Guyana, because those chairs would not have been there if our foreparents did not have the foresight, the insight, the intellect, and the vision, and they had the action to back it up. We are civilizers. We are civilizers. We ensure that we civilize the wild coast, not just for us Africans, but for those who wondered what they were coming to. And when they got here, oh yes, it was not the perfect place, but at least it was not the slave plantation. I love you all, and as I say, that love must begin at home. If I don't love this color that they want to hate, then I'm nobody. The human spirit connects with a collective. My identity is not an individual identity, but a collective identity. I identify with something, whether it's my village, my country, or my race. Oh, this world is quick, perhaps a little bit quicker, not quick, a little bit quicker to award aspects of my being, of my identity. Oh, but the darkest of my identity, they seek not to award it. I must not allow them. We must not allow them to turn our heads around and turn our minds around. We've got to fight. Our brother Claude McKay, Jamaican West Indian, black man, said if he must die, then let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making them mock at our coarse lot. Or if he must die, then let us nobly die, that the monsters we now defy shall be constrained to honor us though dead. O kinsmen, what though before us lies the open grave, like fighting men, our backs to the wall, dying, but fighting back. We have to fight social death. We have to fight physical death. We have to fight the burying of our history. But we shall overcome, because we are God's children too. We are God's children too. If we think that God is not a God that discriminates, we must think of ourselves as God's children. He has put us here to do work, and we are doing our work. We come in peace tonight. We come in peace tonight. And as usual, we leave in peace. But we come back tomorrow to face the monsters who try to kill us. Love is the watchword, because we have an abundance of that. Sometimes too much. Sometimes we love others more than we love ourselves. But I shall never exchange anything for Black love. We are on a mission. We have to be on a mission. Every generation must play its part. Every generation must play its part if we're going to help to redeem Guyana. We must not redeem Guyana just for Guyanese. We must redeem Guyana for the Africans who laid the mortars and the brick for what is Guyana. We were not always Guyanese. Or when we came in 1625, we didn't come as Guyanese. Or when you say I'm a Guyanese, but I'm not African, you are Brother Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory used to ask, what kind of fool is you? What kind of fool is you? It was not Guyanese that created and fought the 17th century revolution. It was not Guyanese that fought the 1823 and the 1834 revolutions. It was African Guyanese. You all get it in your heads. So when you all with this loose talk, Guyana came after. We liberated the plantation. Oh, from plantation to nation. From plantation to nation. And we must not allow them to tell us to be Guyanese, one Guyana, while they are being other things. One Guyana must stand on the principle of a diverse Guyana. And in that diversity, we brought to bear a uniqueness, a unique Africanness. And we must be unique because the world trampled upon us for 400 years. I cringe when Black people say they're capitalists. Read Eric Williams' Capitalism and Slavery. Capitalism was built on slavery. I'm not telling you not to acquire wealth. I want Black people to have wealth. I'm not telling you not to be rich. I want Black people to be rich. All I'm saying, as Brother Guyan told us tonight, get your story straight. Do not allow people to write your history. When our brother, the mighty shadow, he said Columbus lied. Columbus is a damn liar. He tell people that he discovered the Americas, but he didn't say that he had to run from Apache. Reconstructing the narrative of Columbus, making Columbus a coward running from the native Indians. We have to construct our own narratives and our own reality. Don't let other people do it for us. And I started with Brother Martin, and I'm going back and ending with Brother Martin. This is my hand for the revolution. That night there will be thousands of torches. From the hospital the lame will come. Those who are mad will be sane again for the revolution. Those who despair shall be happy for the revolution. And I myself shall be so fiercely happy that I shall make this African shirt a banner for the revolution. A banner for the revolution. We've got work to do. 1823, 2023, we remember with righteous rage. We remember with hope. We remember with pride. But we must remember. We must remember. We know what it is to face the fierceness of the night. But we know the morning we can smile to the rising sun. Our blackness shining, and say we are human. We are here, and we are beautiful. Beautiful not just in terms of physical beauty, human beauty. To be beautiful is to be human, and to be human is to be beautiful.
If you hear that, black is beautiful. Santa Claus. Black is beautiful. It's a textile. Lift your head like me. You got to